watching the second Newshour Debate on Times Now Super Prime Time.
It's the last parliament session for the UPA too, and the government is suddenly adamant on pushing the communal violence bill one last time. This latest controversy has been triggered and escalated, I would rather say, to another level by Narendra Modi's letter to the Prime Minister. It's become a matter of debate for all political parties. But 5 months ahead of the elections, does the government actually want to pass the bill? Or are both parties settling in for a secular versus communal agenda for 2014? With me in the studio to my left is Secretary General of the All India Christian Council, John Dayal. To his left, we have Dr Sudhanshu Trivedi, he is National Spokesperson of the BJP and he's Political Advisor to Rajnath Singh. To his left we have Bharat Kumar Raut, Member of Parliament of the Shiv Sena. And to his left, we have Vinod Bansal, who is the spokesperson of the VHP in Delhi. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Abhishek Manu Singhvi is joining us in a minute, and so is Gaurav Bhatia of the Samajwadi Party. How do you view this stunt,
Mr. Dayal? I mean, 2 years too late, in a matter of speaking, so you could call it that it's trying to create a political divide. But I do not think it's trying to create a communal divide, though, because the bill is not the 2011 bill. It is not 2005 bill. This bill is a very innocuous, toned-down, watered-down thing.
What would you have liked? Why do you call it toned down? Narendra Modi thinks it's too sharp. Narendra Modi thinks it's polarizing people. He thinks it breaks the federal spirit.
Mr. Modi is fighting an election. He has a vote bank.
You've seen his letter.
I'm not fighting an election.
You've seen his letter to the Prime Minister?
Yes, indeed. I am not fighting an election. But my point is, minorities do feel threatened. There have been violence. There's Muzaffarnagar. There was Kandhamal. They need protection. We need a national code on rehabilitation. We need impunity to end. We need accountability across the board, from the constable to the chief minister.
No, but why do you need this bill? You have the Indian Penal Code for that. I mean, you have an Indian Penal Code for that.
You have.
For the entire country. Let's get Bharat Kumar Raut. What's your problem with the bill per se?
See, first thing, this bill is meant to have a communal divide and take advantage of that in the coming elections. But now I'm told, just now before coming to the studio, that now that the government itself is toning down the bill, they are removing the word called group.
Yeah, so you're happy with it?
So I'm happy.
So you think Narendra Modi is complete?
After that, let me come. Yeah. If this is the bill, then why you want to bring it? If you want to really strengthen the hands of law, then you could wait for 4 more months. So many years have gone. This government is in power for last 10 years.
Are you opposing it for opposing sake? So
no.
Are you opposing it for opposing sake? No, watch. Let's get the. Are you opposing it for opposing sake? Because the whole issue was over the definition of the word group. That you are dividing this country into minority groups who are the only ones who are seen as possible victims of the of communal violence. If the definition of now that whole word group goes away, what's your problem with it?
It's for not just the technical aspect of definition of a group in this bill, but it was also relating to the basic intention of the government. If you look at the policy of this government, on one side they say there should not be anti-terror law in this country. All these IPC acts are sufficient. But in the communal violence, they say no, IPC acts are not sufficient. There has to be an anti-communal law. Is this not? It's the two different views on one aspect. Second thing, it's consistent infringement in the federal structure of India. The communal sensitivity varies from state to state. And in certain states, the communal sensitivity...
No, I haven't gone to that yet. No, I'll come to the part of federal structure first. Let's go point by point. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, welcome. Gaurav Bhatia, welcome. Let's take one part. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, have you seen Narendra Modi's letter? Narendra Modi's letter to the Prime Minister? Should we debate some parts of what he has said?
Certainly.
I presume you have, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, so Narendra Modi, he says he has objections to various issues. In one, he has objections to the term hostile environment. Now, in this bill, there is a part of the bill which says the following. A hostile environment against a group means an intimidating or coercive environment that is created when a person belonging to any group, by virtue of his membership of the group, is subjected to A, boycott of trade or business, B, public humiliation, C, deprivation or threaten to deprive a person of his fundamental rights, 4, force a person to leave his or her home state or ordinary residence of livelihood, and 5, any other act which is aimed at creating an intimidating, hostile environment. Now, before I come to you, I want to ask the representative of the VHP, what's the problem? If a hostile environment is created today, you are from the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, for a Hindu community. For anyone from a Hindu community, if a hostile environment is created, then obviously the law should go out and protect the person. The Kashmiri Pandits, by this clause, they would be protected within the state of Jammu and Kashmir. You should be welcoming it. Why is Narendra Modi opposing it?
सबसे पहली बात तो ये है कि जम्मू कश्मीर में अप्लाई नहीं होता। दूसरी बात ये है कि इसको आज क्यों लाया जा रहा है। तीसरी बात ये कि क्या हिंदू और मुसलमानों के बीच में बांटने की राजनीति सरकार
अगर जम्मू कश्मीर में अप्लाई होता तो फिर कश्मीरी पंडितों पर क्या कोई अत्याचार होता?
नहीं, क्या मतलब वो
यानी कि बिल में अच्छाई है।
आप देखिए, ये देखिए कि उस बिल के अंदर क्या है। और दूसरी बात, इसको कम्युनल डिवाइड करना क्यों चाहती है सरकार?
कम्युनल डिवाइड कहां है? वेयर इज द कम्युनल डिवाइड?
भाई, इसमें कम्युनिटी के बारे में बात करिए। बेसिकली क्या है कि इसमें ना, अदरवाइज इफ इट इज नॉट सो, मुझे बताइए कि इस लॉ को लाने की जरूरत क्या थी?
नहीं, जरूरत
आखिरकार
यू आर अपोजिंग फॉर अपोजिंग सेक।
नो,
आप अपोज करेंगे इसलिए अपोज कर।
नहीं, ये हिंदुओं को दबाने के लिए रणनीति बनाई गई है सर।
हिंदुओं को दबाने की बात कहां है? तो हिंदू मुस्लिम की बात नहीं है, अभी ग्रुप का डेफिनेशन निकल चुका है इससे।
नहीं, ग्रुप के
तो हिंदुओं को दबाने की बात कहां से आई?
ये जो कम्युनिटी
की बात है, मिस्टर सुधांशु त्रिवेदी, that you and the VHP are trying to create that this is an anti-Hindu bill. If the definition of the word group goes away, there is no such room for you to complain. You agree?
No.
You agree?
No. In my opinion, the basic intention of this government since last several years has been a consistent on one side. In the recent Muzaffarnagar riots, when Samajwadi Party government of UP gives compensation to one community, thanks to Supreme Court it has been halted. But what this central government has done, this shows a clear-cut bias mindset to create a communal divide of the Congress and their allies.
No, so, you've got a mindset against it, I think.
Now, I will come to some other time.
I would like to come in.
No, I think we've got a mindset problem.
One more thing.
No, you've got a mindset problem.
Don't be judgmental. Don't be judgmental.
No, I'm not being judgmental.
It is not a mindset problem.
I'm saying here,
it is very clear.
Narendra Modi does not want command responsibility. I'm coming to point number 2, command responsibility. Command responsibility is that when a superior officer fails to control a riot or something in one state, even if because of the actions of his junior officers they make a mistake, he will be held responsible. You should welcome it. Because if this was to apply, then the Muzaffarnagar riots would never have taken place. It would have never taken place. The senior officers would have been worried.
This act is being brought by this government.
Yes.
Who is not ready to hold any responsibility of their cabinet ministers
Abhishek
or whatever has been done there.
Abhishek
Manu Singhvi and Gaurav Bhatia, which is given in this.
Abhishek Manu Singhvi and Gaurav Bhatia, we are going point by point. So I find here that on all the points here, the BJP, the VHP and the Shiv Sena have taken a firm position. The idea of a bill like this itself is bad.
It is an election gimmick.
On the clauses...
Let me be very clear, it is election gimmick.
No, on the
government also did not want a bill, but because elections are there and there are no ground to contest the election.
Besides saying it's an election gimmick, what's your argument? You're just repeating yourself.
That's why I'm saying that this is the quasi-federal system. Why are you taking this law and order situation from state to center?
Okay.
As you had earlier said, the situation of communal tension is different from state to state.
Okay.
Why do you want to take it in your hand?
Why do you want to take it in your hands? Because perhaps the center distrusts the state governments. Let's see Abhishek Manu Singhvi.
And your own Congress statement.
Abhishek Manu Singhvi.
Your own Congress statement.
Abhishek Manu Singhvi, that point actually is your weakest point. You are interfering, you're changing the federal structure. That's your weakest point, isn't it? Abhishek Singhvi.
You've had about 7-8 minutes of this program and I've listened to most of it patiently. Allow me my couple of minutes peacefully. Look, Arnab, you and I and the world should not be surprised that the BJP and Mr. Modi oppose a communal violence bill. They are not there to oppose the SEZ bill. They are not there to oppose the capitalist expansion bill. They will always be there to oppose a communal violence bill. So this should not surprise you. The very fact that any group opposes a bill like the prevention of communal violence, I think itself should raise a big question mark on what they are trying to do, and ultimately this is because bodies like the BJP see everything in terms of Hindu-Muslim, everything in terms of minority-majority, everything in terms of religion. Now let's make a few quick points. First of all, this is an article of faith with us. You will oppose the food security bill saying, what is the timing? You won't say a word about the contents or the merits of the bill. We will bring again the women's reservation bill for the 5th time. Then you will not oppose, because that again is an article of faith with us. We brought the communal violence bill long ago. You opposed it, we brouut it again. What's there to do with timing?
Sir, it violates the federal structure of the Constitution. You should be, as one of India's... No, as a well-known jurist, you should...
Arnab,
no, 1 second.
I'm answering one by one. Please give me my 1 minute, please. I've answered the point about timing. Now let me come to the third point. It is a fundamental
Your weakest
fallacy.
point is the federal argument.
Okay, let's come to federal argument. What is weak about it? What's weak about it? This act gives a set of powers which are not there, and after the dilution, not a single one of them violates the federal structure. It allows you to declare an area as a communal disturbed area by the state government primarily. It allows that authority there to then give directions in a communally disturbed area declaration to give up your arms, to give up things, etc. Powers not there earlier. It provides a whole fasciculus of provisions for relief and rehabilitation.
Let the states decide.
Not there.
It is the responsibility of the state governments.
And
you are trying to break it now and again.
The state government still does not do anything. The central government should have some residuary powers. The central government already has residuary powers in Article 355 of the Indian Constitution. It can have
One second.
So if it does a coordinating job, what's the problem?
No, 1 second.
Arnab,
1 minute. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, the question is... No, Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, you are giving yourself a certificate. The question is whether this authority you want to create, the National Authority for Communal Harmony, transgresses into the jurisdiction of the states.
Who are there in the...
Transgresses into the jurisdiction of the states. How do you give yourself
all
that
empower the state government. In the event that there is a communal conflagration going on, and the state government does not take action, then the authority gives directions. And that is pretty similar to the power under Article 355, whereby the central government can even intervene.
Abhishek Manu Singhvi, Gaurav Bhatia is coming in. The VHP has a question for you. Let's put all of them on the screen for once. And Gaurav Bhatia is responding now to Abhishek Manu Singhvi.
Arnab, first of all, this bill is of the year 2005. So it is strange that why did the Congress wait for 8 years and now they're bringing this bill in such a rush. Apart from that, nobody knows it better than Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi that the law and order subject is in the state list, and therefore this bill is a violation of the federal structure. He's not been able to address that issue. This section 55, I would request him to go through that, talks about a unified command authority where the central government would start dictating terms on the state government when law and order is a state subject. So that is a serious issue. Now, one more important point is that the Congress UPA government did the same thing with the food security bill. It was passed, but it has not been implemented because...
Don't move. Let's stay, stay focused. Don't move into the food security bill, etc. Let's first settle... Let us first settle whether this authority breaks the federal structure of the Indian Constitution, right?
Section 55.
Let's first settle that.
It does break the basic structure of the and concept of the federal structure. This is because if you want to do like this, then bring the entire nation under president's rule. And then only you can do it. Since there are state governments which are elected bodies and there are assemblies,
you also think it breaks? Does the BJP also think it breaks the federal structure?
I think unknowingly, Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi has said from his mouth that since the state governments are not working properly, so they want to come into this. There are certain technical words used in this act which should be properly defined. For example, there is a word called, this is a question from my side, there is a word, if a person is being persecuted because of religious identity, what is religious identity? Second, they have used the word, if there is a mental torture even in the custody, what is the definition of mental torture? Even they have used the word moral harassment. What is the definition of moral harassment? If these things are not defined properly, you remember, by using just a word, internal disturbance.
What hypocrisy, Dr.
No hypocrisy.
What hypocrisy?
By using the word internal disturbance, Mrs. Gandhi has brought the emergency in this country.
I think
so. This Congress government is having this kind of
Trivedi, what hypocrisy? On the one hand, you have the BJP complaining about the centre violating the federal structure, and you're being so aggressive tonight. I'm challenging you and you and you, all three of you, the VHP, the Shiv Sena and the BJP. 1 minute. First, let them answer me tonight. No, let them all answer me tonight. They're sitting to my left. Let's take a long shot and get their responses. 1 minute. Did you or did you not complain about... 1 second. Did you or did you not demand central intervention in the case of the Muzaffarnagar riots? Did you or did you not demand central intervention? Did your party president Rajnath Singh in September this year not say that the government of India should intervene and take strict action against the Uttar Pradesh government?
Because there is a provision in the government. So because it was in the case of Muzaffarnagar, you are not even... One minute, let me complete. When it was the case of...
Dayal.
Let me complete one sentence. It was the case of Karnataka. So-called Shiv Sena. You are sending a stern warning to the Karnataka government because it was a BJP government. When it is a Muzaffarnagar riots, not even a sense of displeasure by the government.
Central intervention in Muzaffarnagar.
I am not saying central. You intervene whenever it is required.
Abhishek Manu Singhvi is responding to you.
Government remained silent spectator when Muzaffarnagar was burning. And what are you talking of now?
Abhishek Manu Singhvi.
Arnab, if you want it to be an informed debate and not get lost in political versus legal, one simple point made is it's an intrusion into the federal structure.
It is totally political.
And section 55, well, it can't be. You're discussing a bill, sometimes you jump into the intrusion of federal structure, sometimes into political. Let's deal with the federal structure. Has anybody read 55?
Law and order is a state subject.
1 minute.
No, law and order is a state subject.
Arnab,
no, how can the National Authority for Communal Harmony hold state police officials accountable?
Of course you can. Please understand the nuance of law. Everybody knows law and order is a state subject. What does 55 say? Those who are giving the duhai of 55 should read it carefully. Normally, 8/10 of this act empowers, mandates and pushes the state government to take action. However, in 55 it says, when there is violence on such a scale that it has complete division between groups and cumulatively, the scale is such that there is imminent threat to the secular fabric, unity, integrity or internal security of India. I'm reading the act. Then the following three things happen. First of all, the central government comes in, but first step it does is only to draw attention of the state government to the prevailing situation. Thereafter, to direct the state government to take action. Thereafter, the state government takes action, not the central. However, on a matter where the internal security, fabric, unity and integrity of India is a scale and the state government does not take action, then it gives a default power to the central government to intervene directly, but there again,
he is defeating
unified command with the state government.
You are defeating your own point.
That's a completely list one subject.
Then why do you need this enactment in first place?
Central government competence is absolute. It says secular fabric, unity,
you give me one
security of India.
Abhishek Singhvi, tell me one thing. Why didn't you act in the case of Uttar Pradesh? Why didn't you act in the case of Uttar Pradesh?
Because we didn't have,
if you feel
because
so much.
we didn't, well, it's dangerous to apply laws on the television program, but the simple answer is because we didn't have the communal violence bill as an act.
Oh my God!
Yes.
You must be honest tonight.
If you want to act in a hypothetical case, if you want to have the power to act, you need an act like this.
You did not act in Uttar Pradesh. Allow me to complete. You didn't act in Uttar Pradesh because you have a deal with the Mulayam Singh Yadav government. You don't want to upset them. You need their support in Delhi. So even if dozens of people die in Uttar Pradesh, you don't care at that point of time. So you have crocodile tears in Parliament right now.
I thought we were discussing.
Come on. We have the VHP asking a question. VHP.
Arnab, can I ask Mr. Singhvi a question?
इसलिए इनको चिंता नहीं हुई. हिंदू मर रहे थे, हिंदुओं को उत्पीड़न हो रहा था, वहां पर बुरी तरह से प्रताड़ित किया जा रहा था, इसलिए उन्होंने उनकी चिंता नहीं थी. और दूसरी कम्युनिटी जैसे आई, उसके बाद उनके सारी हॉरिफाइड हो गए. कानून अपने हाथ में लेना, इनका और अपने हिसाब से इंटरप्रेट करना, इनकी हमेशा से नीति रही है. आखिरकार क्यों नहीं एक्ट किया टाइम से? आखिरकार उत्तर प्रदेश में कितने सारे दंगे हो गए? आज तक किसी दंगे में कोई कानून लागू नहीं होता क्या? इस कानून के बनने के बाद ही ये एक्ट अपॉन करेंगे क्या? उससे पहले कोई कानून नहीं है इनके पास?
A very simple question to Abhishek Manu Singhvi. I want to know whether Abhishek Manu Singhvi will admit that he has made a factual mistake. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, this national authority, in my view, if you have read the draft, it can give direct, specific instructions to state authorities, not just on what inquiry should happen. They can issue specific instructions about the conduct of the inquiry. They can get into the inquiry. They can directly break every. They can break. No. One second. They can break every hierarchy. No. They can break every hierarchy to issue direct instructions to state authorities. Am I right or wrong?
Only if.
Yes,
only if.
No, 1 second.
I repeat. Only if. The
one
issue
more
involves
important point I wanted to
cumulatively
make.
violence and communal violence of such a scale that it threatens the secular fabric, unity, integrity, and internal security of India.
Of course.
No,
So that is the fundamental point. Gaurav Bhatia. But that's the fundamental point. That is the fundamental point. Gaurav Bhatia is responding to you. Gaurav Bhatia, please. Gaurav Bhatia.
Thereafter,
Yes,
it has
one
to draw
very
the
important,
attention
Mr.
of the state
Abhishek
government.
Manu Singhvi is aware of
Thereafter,
it.
the state government
There are
alone
other
can act.
acts like the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act, where the CBI, if they have to investigate within the jurisdiction of a state government, they have to seek prior sanction of the state government.
Please listen
There
to
is
him.
no such sanction, and that is why it violates the federal structure.
of the Indian Constitution.
Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi may respond to that, because in DSP Act, a prior sanction is required. This Act does not talk about it.
Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, I will only tell you, you go and look at section number 31, powers of the national authority, and you will find that what I have read out is not an exception. It is one of the basic powers that you override any state authority, override any state hierarchy, and go straight and issue instructions to any state government. Now let me say this to you, even your Congress-run governments will not like that. But listen to Gaurav Bhatia's...
You are hit the nail. You are hit the nail.
55, I've dealt with 55, there is no 31. 31 deals with power of Supreme Court.
It means that the state governments and state powers cease to exist. In such a, so what do you want to have central rule all over the country? Say that and then go ahead.
इससे भी ज्यादा एक इम्पोर्टेंट बात यह है कि नेशनल अथॉरिटी में कौन लोग होंगे? आर द जुडिशियल पर्सन, और कोई भी बन सकता है. इसमें कोई कहीं डेफिनेशन डिफाइन नहीं किया गया कि who may be the person of the
Gaurav Bhatia.
It's a default mode.
On the point of the federal structure. Yes, please. Gaurav Bhatia.
Yes, I just wanted to reiterate the point that the Constitution talks about a union list, a state list, and a concurrent list. Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi is an eminent lawyer. He is aware that a similar act like Delhi Special Police Establishment Act states that the permission of the state government has to be taken before the CBI can investigate, and that is the true sense of a federal structure. Now here, if we see, there would be a unified command in which the central government would be deploying forces and giving orders in a state territory. So this is clearly violative of the federal structure. And this committee consists of all central government persons and certain other persons that the central government would nominate. So this absolutely is violative of the Constitution and the federal structure.
On the timing. John Dayal, one second. Abhishek Manu. John Dayal, why aren't you raising the question of timing? Why would the government bring in a bill, A, which it knows it's not going to go through? B, you're going to get nothing out of this but 10 days of hangama in Parliament. You say you want to legislate in Parliament. Obviously, you don't want to legislate, which is why you're bringing in a bill which is going to lead to a lot of tamasha and a lot of fighting in Parliament. Why don't you suspect the motives?
We do. We've already said, we've repeatedly said, this bill is coming almost too late. It should have come in 1911. In 2011, it could have been passed. There was 2 years for it to pass. The timing makes it vulnerable. I will not call it suspect. I'll call it vulnerable. But let me point out a small thing. There exist many organizations in New Delhi which have an overarching reach. The NHRC, the National Commission for Women, the National Commission for Minorities, of Scheduled Castes and Tribes.
What does the NCW do?
That's beside
the point. What does
but,
the NCW do? The NCW does absolutely nothing. Except whenever an incident happens, that journalists go to them and they get a perfunctory soundbite. The NCW doesn't do anything. The NHRC is purely recommendatory. Right?
The NHRC is purely
recommendatory. Why can't we give more teeth to the NHRC and NCW? We can give them more powers. And as you correctly said, the timing of this bill itself is very doubtful. It's a bill of 2005.
The question here is, the question which was raised, I'm reading from Narendra Modi's letter where he says, coming just a couple of months before the expected announcement of the next general elections, it makes the move look very suspicious. It is almost a giveaway that the move to introduce the bill is based on political considerations dictated by vote bank politics. Let's talk about that. Correct. Vote bank politics rather than genuine concern for preventing communal violence. Let's get the BJP's response first, then we'll come back. Sudhanshu Trivedi.
Mr. Narendra Modi's letter is vote bank politics. He also has a vote bank.
Yeah, Sudhanshu Trivedi.
I will respond. This is a typical characteristic style of Congress. Do you remember in 2012 UP Assembly election? They have brought the 3.5% reservation for Muslims, despite knowing the fact that this was quashed down by court in Andhra Pradesh. But they have brought, because it was just on the eve of the UP Assembly elections. On the eve of 2007 Gujarat election, they have brought the Banerjee committee report. So on the eve of every election, they try to bring an issue which is capable of creating a communal divide. And as far as the intention of this government is concerned, they have not passed the Gujkoka Act of Gujarat, Anti-Terror Act of Madhya Pradesh, with the similar act in Maharashtra was passed. So they are on the Naxal issue, they say this is a state subject, you deal with yourself. You are not ready to empower the government, state government with law and the police force and the logistics, but you are ready to infringe them by using your center superior authority. This clearly shows the politics on the eve of the elections.
No, the question to the Congress party, 9 minutes on the debate is this: is the Congress party doing this aware that it's going to face a drubbing in the next state election results, Abhishek Manu Singhvi, which is why you're playing out all your cards, not knowing when the next general elections will happen. If you enter a lame duck government phase, then you want to burnish your secular credentials with 5 months or less to go for the general elections.
First of all,
this is your last
intrinsic merits of an issue. First of all, the intrinsic merits of an issue matter in the ultimate analysis and not the timing. Timing is irrelevant if the issue is otherwise good. Number two, this bill was brought twice earlier. It was introduced into Parliament. You are forgetting that. It was not allowed to be taken further, and this is the third time we are bringing it in Parliament. Thirdly, the food security bill has the same allegation that we are having the food security bill because we want to get electoral gain. Any political formation does a legislative act for two things. If it is good for the country, and of course, it wants to be considered the author of something good.
No, Dr. Singhvi.
What's the harm in that?
Dr. Singhvi,
and you are not concerned about divisive politics of those who go to Uttar Pradesh
the only thing is,
but you talk of divisive politics of those who bring the Prevention of Communal Violence Bill. This is something funny. You don't talk about the divisive politics of those who at every stumping, like Mr. Modi and Mr. Amit Shah, bring in idioms, bring in imagery, which is completely divisive.
How wonderful!
And we bring in a communal
how wonderful this is! No, Dr. Singhvi. No. What's it, Dr. Singhvi? How wonderful is it? How wonderful is it that on so many issues? One second. On so many issues you come on Times Now and you say, well, you know, if we have to legislate for some things, first we have to evolve a political consensus on it.
Yes.
We ask you today, why don't you enact the toughest laws against corruption? We ask you on the Lokpal and all other issues, you are the first person who says, always you say, let's have a political consensus on it. Political consensus is important for legislation.
We have never hesitated
on this particular case, I'll take 5 seconds to complete.
Passed or not,
you have twisted your own argument.
But we have
you have no political consensus, but yet you'll push the bill.
No, the same thing happened with the food security bill. The same thing is happening with the women's reservation bill. We are bringing it nevertheless. Does it mean that because, you know, consensus does not mean unanimity. It does not mean veto. It does not mean that people who have the who are obviously
Bharat Kumar Raut has a question for you.
I have to ask you, Mr. Singhvi, Dr. Singhvi, I would like to ask you, this is perhaps the last session before the election. Next session would be just to pass the vote of the count. Then we are going for elections. Before that, your Lokpal bill is still pending, judicial accountability bill is pending. These are the assurances which you had given many years ago. They are pending. Suddenly you bring this because you know that this bill is not likely to see the light of the day.
Two very good examples, Mr. Bharat Raut.
Just a few,
two very good examples.
To show the that we are with you.
Only persons who have bought both the Lokpal
election gimmick.
Both the Lokpal and the other bill you are talking about is the Congress.
Just make a quick...
Both the bills have been stymied and obstructed and objected to by the BJP. We brought the Lokpal. We brought the judicial accountability. It was opposed. It was opposed tooth and nail.
Now 1 second, the BJP is responding.
Sudhanshu Trivedi. Violence bill has been part of our manifesto.
Sudhanshu Trivedi
is been part of our document. It's been part of our standard,
1 second.
professed
Bring the Lokpal
agenda.
Bill. Bring the Lokpal bill.
We brought it.
Have as
You wanted to put impossible conditions of the CBI on it. You wanted to make a CBI an unaccountable institution.
Dr. Singhvi, since you have brought down this now to this extremely remarkable principle that consensus or no consensus, we cannot wait but legislate on the communal violence bill. And I'd say, please, for God's sake, Dr. Singhvi, allow me to complete, have the same rules on other bills. Don't show this complete enthusiasm for one bill and forget all the other bills, because then people will suspect the intentions behind bringing one bill. Sudhanshu Trivedi, responding to you now.
Dr. Singhvi is giving the logic of convenience. I would like to remind you that you used to accuse BJP that they are not allowing this food security bill to pass. Rahul Gandhi has said that BJP was not allowing the land acquisition bill to pass, though we have supported it. For the issue of women reservation, they need BJP support. For Lokpal, they need BJP support. When you have to equally blame for BJP. But when it comes, whether it is the issue of nuclear deal with America, whether it is the FDI in retail or this communal violence bill, then it comes the authority of the center. It is a very strange logic that on one issue, if you think you can shed some responsibility on BJP, they are not supporting. On the other issue, you are saying, no, there is no need of consensus. You should go with one principle on all the bills.
This bill...
And it is not the issue of BJP versus Congress. It is the issue of states versus federal.
The problem is public memory is short and you delay a bill and then you damn it. This was circulated in 2005 and 6. It has always been opposed by the party known for its signature tomb of communalism. It was then introduced in 2009 or 10. It was not allowed to be passed. It has again been brought up. It's been in our agenda. It's been in our manifesto. And if we bring up something which we've always stood by, there is no question of timing. It's not the first time we are bringing it. It's not the first time in the end session that we are bringing it. And each of the other bills, by the way, we have brought up.
The bill which was presented in 2010 and 11 was a very draconian bill.
1 minute. With respect, I'd say this, that the people of India did not elect Aruna Roy. The people of India, Abhishek Manu Singhvi, you may forget, and the way the Congress decision making happens, the people of India did not elect the National Advisory Council.
Yes, they did.
So if the National Advisory Council thinks it's a parallel judicial constitutional body, you have no political consensus on this, and you say we need not have a consensus, just because there's consensus in the NAC does not mean you are able to push something through.
आप ये देखिए सही NAC के मेंबर कौन-कौन है? जरा बताइए सही, देश जानना चाहता है. Who are the member of the NAC and who has elected those members? Why this extrajudicial?
Are they elected? They are not elected. They are nominated members. Let us be very clear.
Of course.
Government side for its own convenience has nominated those members. They are not elected
Parliament
members.
passes the bill, not
are you going to take?
Arnab.
So Dr. Singhvi, is the only purpose of pushing this controversy to create some tamasha in Parliament, to create a distraction, so that the focus goes away. No, 1 minute. So that the focus goes away from.
Nobody talked about the merits of food security. They said we want to get political brownie points.
Do you see?
You don't talk about the merits.
It's all about political brownie points. It's becoming too transparent right now.
Forgetting the 3 times you brought it earlier. Or 2 times we brought it earlier.
Gaurav Bhatia, please. 2 minutes to the debate.
Arnab,
Gaurav Bhatia.
I just learned from some news channels that now they have decided to amend the bill. Now, if the earlier bill was so perfect and all the due diligence was done, then why was it amended? That clearly shows that their homework has not been done. It has been ill-drafted and there is lack of preparation on their part. And that is why they are rushing through this bill and various amendments are being made without studying the impact of those amendments and the bill. So at least when they are bringing a bill of this nature, which is so sensitive and it is to cure a menace in society, should they not do their due diligence before they table it?
Whether regional parties or BJP who are hell-bent upon throwing the baby out with the bathwater, we have always been open to constructive amendments, provided it is not thrown out per se. What you are hearing are arguments of per se opposition.
What is the point?
Because at least one group is scared about the passage of this bill.
Why are you making this allegation? What makes you? How will you prove that? You are a jurist. You should be making statement which you can prove. How can make such against the regional parties?
Gentlemen, 1 minute. Till day before yesterday, on the Newshour, all the Congress leaders said we don't need to change the definition of group. This is a perfect bill. You have a political agenda if you are questioning it. Today, you have changed the definition of group, which is
that is the point I was making.
In other words,
the passage.
what you... No, 1 minute. Dr. Singhvi, allow me to complete, please. In other words, what... No, Dr. Singhvi, in other words, what you were calling perfect till yesterday is imperfect today. And what is imperfect today, you are calling... perfect today, it will be imperfect tomorrow.
Look,
I request you please
no
consider
bill,
the imperfect nature in which you're pushing the communal
no
violence bill through, and we'll have another debate on it.
On the nitty-gritty. But what you are seeing here is not a single constructive suggestion on nitty-gritty. What you are hearing is a per se objection, whole scale, throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Play around with the social fabric of the nation.
There are people who don't want this
play around with the social fabric of the nation.
I would like to
We
say
are
one
open
sentence
to
last.
That has still
The
not been
implications-
implemented in
not
states
to a
because
whole-scale
there was no
rejection.
machinery and
The
infrastructure.
The implications are too serious. Gentlemen, I'm totally out of time. I'm going into a break. The implications are too serious. Think about it. A bill needs to be brought through not just for noise or for tamasha, but also as a piece of legislation. Like in the case of the Lokpal, talk to the states, talk to the stakeholders, and then consider what you want to bring into Parliament, not just what you want to debate. Thank you very much for joining me on Newshour Debate 2 on the Newshour tonight.